More now on the president's war of words with North Korea. Molly Hemingway, you saw CNN reporting pretty consistently from a Hawaii bunker, even drawing a rebuke from Jeff Toobin. Are some in the media just kind of going overboard on this situation and scaring people?
Well, first of all, there always seems to be a little bit of a rush to war that we see in particularly broadcast media. You might have remembered when we struck Syria, there was such excitement about that. And I think the media have gotten into these patterns of kind of escalating rhetoric, even as they are condemning what the president said, and not thinking through some of the serious consequences of what a global conflict with North Korea would be like. This is newsworthy. It is absolutely newsworthy that North Korea, which has been on a path to this point for decades, going through several administrations, does have some of these capabilities. But we need to also still remember how to cover these things a little bit more balanced. I mean, North Korea is a country that has interests. They aren't likely to actually bomb the United States or Guam or Japan or South Korea, because the moment they do that, as all these presidents have said, they would be utterly annihilated. So it's a little bit more complicated situation. What do they want with this nuclear power? That wasn't covered well.
A refreshing bit of perspective. Jessica Tarlov. Brian Williams says, hey, this is serious stuff. We have to scare people.
Yeah, no, I didn't agree with that, and I totally agree with what Molly just said there. I think that there has been a lot of this blown up, and if you listen to the experts, they're saying that, yes, there's an increased likelihood of a conflict, but it's nowhere near kind of the fire and brimstone that we're hearing, and obviously then saying fire and fury may play into that. What I think has been interesting is to see the effect on the American public in terms of polling. Now, over 50% say that they would be willing or think that it's a good idea to actually go into a conflict with North Korea, and that is a substantial change, and I think due to the media coverage, like Brian Williams, trumping it up, to use the Trump word.
Okay, Christina Bellantoni, how has the LA Times handled this? You're that much closer in this part of the country,
Absolutely.
The Pacific.
You know, it's important to know what's reality and to have a very clear-eyed look at the facts and what could happen. And so I actually raised this in one of our news meetings. Look, like, it might be ridiculous that we would need to face, you know, what would you do in the event of a nuclear blast? But people are asking this question. So how do we approach it from a very clear-eyed journalistic perspective to report information so people can inform themselves, take that home to their children who are asking this question, take that into their schools where people are asking this question, and that's what you just have to try to do, to be as sober about it as you can and get the facts out there without being hysterical. You know, no one wants to delight in this type of coverage.
Right. Molly, all of the critics in the media who don't like President Trump's foreign policy really escalating themselves. For example, CNN, Fareed Zakaria, crisis we now find ourselves in has been exaggerated and mishandled by the Trump administration to a degree that is deeply worrying and dangerous. So the same partisan sniping, but it's a serious issue, obviously.
It is a serious issue, and you know, in the news we don't like to go back decades. We like to cover what's happening right at this moment. But this is a story that really should have had more coverage going back to the 90s when Jimmy Carter made his trip to North Korea and worked out the terms of this nuclear arrangement. He actually kind of sabotaged Bill Clinton in so doing. And this is not, you know, this is not something that all began 6 months ago when Donald Trump was inaugurated president. This is a story decades in the making, and this is a regional issue that goes back even longer. So it's what is limited. When you make everything about Trump, you miss out on some really big, significant stories.
And Jessica, just briefly, when you make everything about Donald Trump, you maybe miss the fact that it's North Korea that has been stepping up the testing and it's stepping up the rhetoric as well.
Yeah, absolutely, that they're the aggressor here, and this is much more, as Molly pointed out, a regional issue than it is one for us, though I understand the concern, especially for those on the West Coast. I think the media does need to play a role here in getting the facts out, something that they say that they are concerned with at the highest level. If they want to push back on the White House saying that they've been spreading bad information, then the media should be spreading good information or true information, is what I mean by good. There about the actual likelihood.
Yes.
All right, Jessica Tarlov, Christina Bellantoni here in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Howie.
Thanks very much for joining us.